Well,
to make power.
it's a winter wonderland.
Hey dear,
Ah,
it's very difficult to make power when the panels are completely covered with snow.
yeah.
It's always something in RV life, but no need to panic, y'all. I got a broom.
It's cold. Hey fellow adventurers, Melissa, Jesse, and Lincoln here with Adventure Endeavor. Today we are going to talk about winter RV boondocking because we recently found ourselves unintentionally in the middle of a winter storm while camping because we had to stay in an area that we were in longer than we expected to. So we did a few things to modify the rig slightly and just a few different things to
make it a little more doable. A lot of your systems are going to be taxed by the cold temperatures, by the rain, by the snow, stuff like that. So a lot of this stuff is just going to help make it easier for you if you get caught in a storm or if you want to go out and enjoy cold weather like we do.
Yeah, we really like the cold weather, so we tend to seek it out. We came up here on purpose to check out the fall colors. We're in southwestern Colorado, by the way. And we also have our 1989 Grand Wagoneer in the shop in Durango. So we were waiting for it to get finished, and it's taking a little bit longer than expected, which is why we're still here this late in the season. But in any case, RVs, you probably know most of them are not really made to withstand extreme winter temperatures. But we're kind of on the edge of the season here, and we figured that it would be okay, so we just wanted to do a few little things to make our stay a little bit more comfortable and sustainable.
Yeah, so we have quite a bit of experience with boondocking in cold temps. We've done it in our old toy hauler, which was the Keystone Carbon. We have done a lot of it in our 17-foot Nash travel trailer. And then now we are in our 2022 Grand Design Imagine. Nothing fancy about the Imagine. It has just their 4-season protection, which is not much, but we are not having issues, which is good, especially because we're kind of out here boondocking by ourselves. But the few little things that we did, I think, helped a lot as well.
It has gotten down to 23 degrees, so we've been totally fine so far. So we're going to talk about all of our tips and things that we are doing.
The biggest thing, obviously, when boondocking is going to be your utilities. So your water, your propane, and your power. Let's start with water. Obviously, if you're boondocking, you're most likely just going to fill up your tank and then go off grid. You're going to want to keep your tank as full as possible because with the freezing conditions, you do not want your tank to freeze. It is possible. It can happen. We only had a little bit of our gray water tap freezing, which we got lucky. That wasn't a big deal. One thing that we did to help with freezing in our RV's wet bay was we went to a local tractor supply store and we picked up this Easy Heat. They have them different brands. There's Frost King, Easy Heat. There's some no-name brands. And then all we did was we grabbed this light bulb and this little socket, and basically we just plugged this into here, put this into our wet bay outlet, which works because we have a full solar setup, so all of our outlets work in our rig. Plug it in. Basically what this does, this is thermostatically controlled. So it goes from a range of, 54 to 38 degrees. Mm-hmm. And basically this plug will not work until it drops below 38, and then it will come on. And you might not think that a light bulb will do much, but it's just for our underbelly, which is a small pass-through. This plus our inverters. Inverters do throw off some heat when you have some loads going inside the rig, has kept our wet bay completely thawed out. I mean, we haven't noticed anything. We haven't had any issues with anything whatsoever. So that is a good tip. We actually just have a 40-watt bulb. I got 150 watt in the first time, and I felt like it was just way too hot. And I was kind of concerned about it potentially lighting something on fire because where our bay is, plugs in here, and then our door is like really close. We were checking temperatures and stuff, and I just wasn't comfortable with it. So this seems to be doing the trick. Why don't you tell them what we do at night with our water pump and with everything?
Yeah, so of course, when the temperatures drop below freezing, one of the biggest concerns in an RV is your water tank and or your pipes potentially freezing and bursting. So what we've been doing every night before bed is turning off the water pump and opening all of our faucets, including the shower, to let any excess water drain out, because our thought is that if there isn't any excess water in those lines, if it does start to freeze, it's not going to expand as much, hopefully.
Yes, I was doing some research online, and PEX is actually very good with freezing. PEX is the plastic tubing that most RVs have. And basically the PEX will expand quite a bit, but if it freezes, you won't have water. So we read online, there was a plumber in Alaska, and he said that they had a couple houses that went to -40 because the power went off and they had no heat. And all they would do was turn the heat on, let all the pipes thaw out. They never had anything break. -40. So the PEX and all the joints are very strong. The only thing they had break was actual faucets. So that's another reason why letting the water out of the faucet, if it gets that cold, hopefully you won't have an issue. Obviously, we didn't have that because we had our heater going. Casualty of war. Broom broke. Typically, we lose one every time it snows. All right, so my other main area of concern was this bay here. It might be hard to tell, but we have a water line back there, which is for this spray port. Not really much I can do about this bay. What I did do is I left this light on in here. I know it's an LED. I think they're only 6 or 7 watts, so they don't pull a lot, but you know, I can feel heat from it. And then once this bay is enclosed, I'm hoping it puts a little bit into there. And then this fridge is probably not kicking on very often because it's so cold, but when it does, it produces heat through there. So I'm hoping that we don't get a frozen line.
Obviously, another major concern with winter RV camping or boondocking is generating enough heat to keep yourself warm. RVs do not hold a lot of heat in. This is a fact, everybody knows this. However, your main source of heat is probably going to be your internal furnace. They do keep the interior of the RVs relatively warm. Like we've been hovering around 62 degrees every night, is that right?
Yeah, the lowest ours can be set at is 60, so we set it at 60 and just let it stay there.
The outside temp, like I said, is getting down to like 25, 35 degrees, so we're staying nice and toasty in here. The heater is kicking on a lot, but it is working well enough to keep it at a comfortable temperature in here. And of course, obviously we have extra blankets and sweatshirts as well. So whether you are full-time or whether you're going just on a cold weather RV camping trip, just make sure to pack plenty of extra blankets and things like that and warm clothes, especially for the little ones.
And keep in mind that you do need to have your heater on, obviously to keep the inside warm enough to where you're comfortable, but also it's heating your underbelly and it's heating that sealed and closed underbelly and your wet bay. A lot of these RVs now, they do have ducted heat forced into all those areas. So if you think, oh, well, I'll just put blankets on and just leave my heat off, yeah, you'll save on propane, you'll save on battery, and like you might be warm, but there could be a lot of other issues happening by not having your furnace on, at least set to the minimum, which is typically anywhere from 50 to 60 is where you can set these thermostats at. There's other things you can do if you're gonna be sustained, like you can skirt your RV, which is basically material that will snap onto the side of your RV and it'll hang down so the cold air doesn't go under your RV. You can get window coverings that are insulated. Lots of people cut Reflectix, which is like this material that helps keep temperatures in and out. Put it on all the windows, but we've honestly been fine, and our average has probably been, I don't know, like 28 degrees, I'd say.
Outside temperature?
Yeah, in the nights. You know, we've been anywhere from 35 to 25, like she said. And we haven't really noticed any issues.
Another thing that we did to keep it warm in the early part of the morning when it is the coldest, since we have 2200 watts of solar and lithium ion batteries, we got a space heater that goes up to 1500 watts, right?
Yeah.
And so we just plug that in and run that for a little bit in the morning before we run the coffee pot, because we don't want to put too much of a draw on our batteries. And it's been really helping to heat the space up when we get out of bed every morning.
Yeah, the Enduro Power batteries have been so nice. They work so well. We'll link those in the description below. And yeah, the extra heater's been nice. I don't know that you would want it if you didn't have a big power setup like us, but for us, it's been awesome. Going right into power. Power is something that is extremely important when you're out, especially in these elements. Your RV furnace is going to require propane, but it also is going to require 12 volt. You notice that ours pulls probably about, I don't know, 80 watts, which is not a ton, but if it's kicking on a lot throughout the whole night, that is going to be a lot of power, especially if you only have 1 or 2 lead acid batteries. Lots of times you're probably going to wake up with dead batteries, which is not fun. So you're going to want some sort of solar power array, or you're going to need to have a generator on, and you're going to need to fire it up in the evenings before you go to bed, and then in the mornings when you wake up, just because that heater's fan runs a lot throughout the night. So you're going to use a lot of power. All right, guys, so we're having our second snow day. First day we probably got about 2 inches. Today it's actually snowing a lot, but it doesn't appear to be sticking that well. I mean, you can see it out there a little bit. And one issue that we're running into is we're really going through propane. We have the heater set to 60, which is as low as our thermostat goes, but me and Cub are gonna go into town and get a couple tanks filled.
Another thing that we've never actually had to deal with before until recently is adjusting the regulator on our propane tanks on the outside of the rig. Because we have found that going up in elevation has impacted our propane, because so you want your propane and the oxygen to mix at a proper amount. But when you go up in elevation, the air is thinner, so there's less oxygen. So having too much propane pumping in and not enough oxygen, it can make so your propane lines are not working properly.
Yeah, you'll notice that the furnace may, just the fan may blow, and then basically the propane torch will only kick on occasionally. Ours still does it a little bit, so it might need to be a little more tweaked. But then also too, if you're cooking on your stove, you may notice that the flames are like yellow instead of like a nice solid blue, or the flames are just smaller in general. That might mean that your propane regulator needs adjustment.
And as you can imagine, with the colder winter temperatures, you're going to have a higher likelihood of rain, snow, and mud on the outside of your RV. So, and one thing that we like to have is that we actually just got an interior floor mat, and then we have an exterior, like little square thing right at the bottom of our steps. It is a Anderson, what is it?
It's like the Anderson's floor mat. I don't know. We'll link it in the description, and I'll put a picture of it here for you.
So as you can see, there is quite a bit of dirt under here that has been collected just by stepping on it and wiping our feet on it. You know, I've got socks on right now, but you get the idea. And then of course we go up our steps, and we have this nice little welcome mat, which is very dirty. Obviously, that means it's doing its job.
I really like that thing. That thing is super good for kind of scraping mud off your boots. And then you go up your steps, and then you have the interior mat. And it's been really nice because, yes, small rigs get dirty quickly, but they also clean quickly. But we try to always do as much as we can to keep it outside.
One thing that we don't have yet that we think that we are gonna get for this exact purpose is like one of those foot brushes. You like put your boot in there and go
like a boot brush. It's like a bottom and 2 sides, and you put your boot in there. That'll be great, especially this guy too, because he's gonna start tracking in dirt soon eventually.
Yeah, once he starts walking.
Well, we hope you guys thought this video was helpful. We are not professionals by any means, but I would say that we actually have a lot of experience in boondocking in general, and then we've gotten ourselves in some pretty gnarly conditions, and we've never had pipes freeze, knock on wood. We have never had any issues, really. I mean, the key is keeping everything warm. Always check weather, make sure you know what you're getting yourself into, this and that, and just be prepared and have backup systems if possible. Like, we have a generator, but we haven't needed it because it's been sunny, fairly sunny throughout the day with our solar setup, so that's fine. We have the electric heater, which is a backup to our furnace. Lots of people like those Mr. Buddy heaters, which are good too. So it's all about having redundancy when you're in extreme weather. If you have any questions, let us know down in the comments.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely not experts. We just wanted to share our experience. And like Jesse said, watch the weather and be prepared. I don't know that we would stay here if we knew that it was going to get down to 5 degrees Fahrenheit, but 25 we felt like we could manage. So use your judgment with that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, I think 20 would probably be your limit.
Yeah.
For this RV.
We got time on our side. We're in a state of hope. I need you on my fire. I want you to know that every time you're away, I long for you so much I can find my way.